Both sides of my family have had significant work in the fossil fuel industries. My grandfather and great-grandfather worked and managed a coal mine in West Virginia. My uncle still works in the oil industry. And I feel like fossil fuels have given us a lot of stability and cheap and reliable energy for over a century. But at the same time, when you know better, you do better. So we are Episcopal Church of the Atonement in the Edgewater neighborhood of Chicago. About 4 years ago, we commissioned an architectural assessment to see, frankly, what is the state of our 3 buildings on this property, and got back a report that said something like $8 million in work would be necessary to get it to the tip-top shape. And that was naturally a frightening report.
A lot of times, the big necessary work is put off to the side because the focus is on the day-to-day operations.
You have 100-year-old buildings, and those require a lot of maintenance and a lot of work to steward them into their second centuries of life.
We heard about Bricks and Mortals and the S4 program, and that they were building a cohort of historic churches in Chicago. And we figured we would join it and just see what we could learn.
I think Atonement, along with all of the churches in the cohort, were coming out of a global pandemic with this pressing need to reroot themselves and come back to that identity of who they are as a church and what their values are, what their role is in their community, and where God is leading them.
In the beginning, we were spending a lot of time going around in circles, and then we just realized we had to just stop doing that and just pick something and just go forward.
Throughout the S4 time period, we switched to probably a little bit higher level thinking. How can we seek external funding as well as leaning into our values of creation care?
I remember in the very first meeting that we had, Richard saying, "I'm really interested in solar."
Our congregation and our denomination in general care very much for the idea of caring for God's creation and living that to the best of our ability in our own context where we are planted. Caring for your neighbor is the broader concept, and caring for creation is part of caring for your neighbor. And so then we figured out what is most necessary for us to focus on step by step. And we realized that the roof of our sanctuary had never been replaced in almost a century and never was insulated. It was also a necessary condition for us to do anything cool like adding solar power. We noticed that there was this option to apply for a grant in the city of Chicago that was somewhat open-ended. We, I think, had about 3 weeks from the time we noticed the grant to having to actually apply for it.
It became just a kind of, why not? Like, let's try. Let's just have a leap of faith.
And we ended up getting awarded $250,000 to help us replace the sanctuary roof. And that project completed this past summer. There's nothing like a victory to make you feel like you have the skill set and the calling to do what you need to do.
For me, it was reaffirming that we were doing the right thing, and that the city of Chicago saw that there was a need in this community to do climate infrastructure, and that could then free up resources to allow for us to devote more to the ministry and mission of the church.
This can replace roughly 3/4 of your electric cost. And with Illinois Solar for All, the utility inverter rebates, and the federal benefits, we're talking about potentially having the capital cost completely covered within a year of energizing. That really opens up people's eyes.
I think what I am most proud of for this team is making a cultural shift away from the paralysis of perfectionism into a willingness to just do it and see what happens.
Me personally, it's shown that I have a calling for this. I've helped to start for the Diocese of Chicago our new task force for creation, the Eco-Dio Chicago working group. And we set a goal for our diocese that all of our properties and churches and parishes will be net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2030.
I think it definitely is an outward statement that this is a congregation that is trying to become better stewards of the environment, of our campus, of our buildings.
And so maybe putting up solar panels is helping us do this one small thing right. And future generations could benefit from just the small actions that we're doing now.